Hello, and welcome to Rocket Fuel, your daily update of everything that's happening in the Rocket Pool community. My name is Wack. Today is July 12th, and we've got another jam-packed episode for you today. And today's episode is full of things about more about delegation and vote initialization. We're going to be talking about Smart Node update 1.13.7. We've got some news out of the GMC. We've got some news out of NodeSet. And we've got a whole bunch of Ethereum and crypto news as well. So let's get started.
10, 9, ignition sequence start, 6.
So we're going to get started here with news from Fornax. And Fornax says that today we've released version 1.13.7 of the Smart Node. And this is a recommended update for all users, as it's got client updates and bug fixes. So let's see what else it includes here. So with client updates, it's got updated GETH, which is a hotfix release for the previous version. It's got a RETH update, and there's a note saying that RETH might have an issue for some Smart Node users and will only work if it's in archive mode. Then with Lighthouse, we've got an update to 5.2.1, which is a medium priority release containing bug fixes for issues identified in 5.2.0. And Prometheus was updated to 2.53.1, and this is a bug fix release reverting changes introduced in 2.51.0. With the Smart Node, there's an update where Nethermind does pruning and sets the threshold to 350 gigabytes, which I mentioned a few weeks ago. We fixed the order balances prices submissions after consensus is reached. That was causing some price updates to not happen on the RETH price. And then we have deprecated the NodeSet voting delegate and no clear voting delegate commands because they don't work anymore. Like, the voting is all on chain now, and I fixed wording regarding delegates and signaling addresses. And to install it, please follow a Smart Node guide here, and then there's information. So that is a really cool update. If you haven't initialized your vote, definitely update to this system first, because like Fornax says, the language is a little bit clearer here, and I think it just makes a little bit more sense for users with the new language. And of course, with another day, we get another update, and with another update, we get another PWAP. So Chevron here says 1 day, 2 PWAPs. We're going to be talking about that later. He says post a screenshot showing your Smart Node by 4 Sunday, and you will get this PWAP. So a whole bunch of people have already submitted their updated versions, and I will do that also after I finish recording Rocket Fuel today. Right, so one of the things that I'm really happy about is about how the team has started getting involved in tokenomics discussions. And for a while there, it was kind of like radio silence coming from the team about the tokenomics stuff. And more frequently, we've started seeing feedback from Langers and sometimes from Kane about, the conversations that team members are having in the background. And I think that's really, really awesome that they're becoming much bigger players in this whole discussion now. It kind of makes sense, everyone was head down on Houston and making sure all that went out smoothly. And now that Houston, is almost completely in the rearview mirror, we can start focusing on Saturn, and that's the big one. So I'm not going to go through the whole post that Langers had in the back and forth. You all can read that yourselves. But one of the things that I'm happy about is that this is taking place. So, for example, a couple of days ago, Langers was saying that we had a mini workshop today, mainly focused on forced upgrades and the deposit mechanics. So then, there's some ideas here about forced updates and the deposit mechanics. Then Valdov started replying with ideas back and forth. Joachim did, and then Langers was still involved, right? So Langers keeps coming back and being involved in the discussion, which is actually really, really cool, instead of just throwing information out there. And then there was some more information here about the commission and where the node reward should be set in the beginning. So Langers was talking about a comparison to the CSM, which is Lido's community staking module. He says the original reason everyone was galvanized in this fight was Lido. They posed the most significant threat to Rocket Pool and importantly to Ethereum. We have to match their commission rate as close as possible. Yes, we are preferred by many because we align better with Ethereum, but we cannot rely on that. It would look pretty weak for us to come out with a commission rate that is substantially lower than theirs. He says there is a risk they will lower their commission, but this is fine. We just need to be comparable. There is a risk that they use CSM as a loss leader. I don't buy this because loss leaders are only useful in the short term, and we are not going anywhere. Then there was some talk about migration here as well that you can go and read. And then Kane was starting to reply to things, which is really awesome as well. Like I said, this is really cool that like the team and the community are starting to get more galvanized on this work. This is one of the reasons why I'm saying that it's going to be hard now for any of the proposals to really come forward and capture mindshare. Like, the stuff that Evan was talking about on rocket fuel, or the stuff that Mike is talking about with 1KX, or things that NodeSet guys kind of alluded to. It looks like they came too late and they didn't do enough to capture mindshare. I think the most that we've seen in terms of engagement has come from the 1KX team, and that's really cool to see that. Like Val, shared his sentiment on the rocket fuel as well. I really wish they'd gotten involved in February when the ideas were still being formed, because I think a lot of their points might have made it into, or at least their thinking would have been shaped by what is happening, with other discussions as well. But still, this I'm glad that this is happening, and that there's some really good discussions taking place here. So like I said, I'm not going to get into the weeds of it, but it's really, really great, and you can definitely go and give this a read. The thread that's full of alpha about this, if you are interested in it, is the tokenomics RPIPs overall thread, and that is the one where you can go and get this information about where we stand, what's happening. And here, Long for Wisdom has a to-do list and what's left before it goes to vote. But it looks like things are looking pretty good. This is my current. The idea is that sentiment check for this proposal goes live on July 12th, but it might be a couple of days late depending on how these guys iron out things on their side. But it's really exciting. It's really, really exciting. So definitely follow along with this discussion if you are a tokenomics nerd, or if you are curious about what's happening in the background. And I'll do my best to summarize big discussions that are happening. But it's going to be a little bit more difficult for me while I'm traveling. But otherwise, I'll try to do my best to keep you all up to date. And but here, Langers was actually replying to 1KX as well, saying thanks for the proposal. I did read through it. Apologies for not commenting until now. And then that's where Mike is involved as well. So he says they're talking about an updated one that they're hoping to publish today. Legal is doing final review. I've shared a high-level overview with Val and Samus to get initial feedback. Happy to share with you too, but full version should be out soon. Oh, that's really interesting. I don't think that is out just yet though, so I'll definitely be looking forward to that. And I'll let you all know what comes of that. Okay, next we are talking about delegation. So people in the community have started making statements such as "stop delegating to me." So Patches was one of the first people. Well, Valdorf was one of the first people to actually make that statement a couple of days ago. And then Patches made that statement as well here, saying "stop delegating to me," and he ended up then delegating his personal node vote to Halululo, which is really funny. And then here is his transaction, and then I put a message saying how do I update the profile, and Val says, oh, you just type the text on the profile. I says I need to edit it, and this was when I was at 2,000 votes a couple of days ago. Since then I have gone up to 2,248 votes, which is 10% higher, maybe a little bit more than that, like 12% higher than I had under the previous voting system. So, as touched as I am that people want to keep delegating their votes to me, I put out a statement today, updated as of July 11th. I said, please do not give me more voting power if my voting power is above 2,000 as it is right now. There are other wonderful people you can delegate your vote to, or maybe you can even vote yourself. Thank you for the vote of confidence in me, but this is unhealthy for Rocket Pool. So please don't delegate more of your vote to me. as much as I appreciate it and I'm touched by your kindness and your trust in me, like I said, I think it's too much power to be in one person's hands. And I think Jasper even said that I'm actually approaching the amounts where it's starting to impact decentralization for Rocket Pool. so so that is kind of like crazy. I think I'm at like 15% of quorum or something now, which is really scary. That means, like, if there was 5 of me, we could probably, like, push through votes on Rocket Pool about whatever we wanted, and that's kind of terrifying. So please don't do that. Halulu says the team argued for medium for the bug bounty instead of high because no one had enough vote power to effectively abuse it. It would be funny if. So yeah. And then Jedem says, "Is Whack finally attacking?" Because of course, my username is Whack Attack. So, and then here's Jasper said, "Whack is at the danger threshold outlined by a proposed law, which is 20% governance power." So I'm not quite there yet, and hopefully, once everyone is initialized, that won't be the case anymore. But Halulu said Whack is personally going to make RPL a security, and I'm like, no. So I replied by saying, my bags won't Whack do something. Jasper says Whack kills RPL. What a timeline. So yeah, I was kind of yeah, this is not good. So let's have actually look at the delegates. Delegates voting. Wait, where is Aramana's script when I need it? Oh well, text. Let me see if that comes up. Yes, okay, rocket delegate. That's what it is. So if we have a look, I'm now at 2,248 votes. And then Val, who also has a warning now saying don't delegate to me, is at 1,443 votes. After that, we have after that we have Val. Val actually has a lot more people delegating to him, but fewer whales. After that, we have Patches. So Patches also said don't vote for me anymore. After that, we have D404. I think that is the two 1kx nodes. So I don't think they're actually doing delegation, but they are just delegating themselves amongst themselves. After that, we have Ramana. Ramana has also said now that he doesn't want more people delegating to him. After that, we have Noshua. Noshua, as far as I know, hasn't made any statements. And then we have Ken Smith and others after that. But I don't think they've made any statements about who they would like their vote delegated to or whether they are still accepting delegations. There's a whole bunch of node operators here, like, Samus, Hululo, Fornax, if you want to vote for someone in the team, and Schifrin, and others as well, who you can vote for if you can delegate your vote to those people if you want. I'm not endorsing anyone, and I've been kind of open about not endorsing anyone, but others have endorsed people, which is really cool of them. But yeah, if you want to do that, definitely go and have a look to see where the delegations are going and what's going on with that. But if we have a look, yeah, the interesting thing here is that Val has 28 people delegated to him. I have 23 people delegating to me, as far as I can tell. And Patches has 22 people, and a whole bunch of people like that are delegating. So once again, I'm very touched. Thank you so much for your faith in me, but please don't delegate to me anymore. And we've been talking about getting the voting initialized because it's a step that needs to happen. We're still under the threshold to move to on-chain voting. So Schifrin and the community are kind of putting out a POAP for those of you who have initialized your voting. So here, Schifrin says, initialize your voting power by July 15th to receive a POAP. Post the screenshot containing a portion of your Rocket Pool PDAO status, like the example below, in this thread to receive the POAP. So here says, like, blah, 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 has been initialized for on-chain voting, and you have the node representing you by running Rocket Pool P SVD address. So this is what the POAP is going to look like. It looks like an astronaut kind of holding a star in his hand almost, a voting power initialized July 2024. So a whole lot of people are starting to share their screenshots, which is really cool. Make sure that you're only sharing the information that you're comfortable sharing, but otherwise you can share that information. So I just shared my delegate page that shows that my node has the voting power, and other people are kind of sharing their information as well. So this is really cool. Hopefully it'll get some new voters online. We also have this thread where people are kind of haranguing different node operators based on their addresses that they can see, and the latest person to be harangued are Marco Barco and Patricio Walthalter. And here Halulu says, "Hey Patricio, if you find some time, could you please make the voting power on your managed node is initialized? It's quite a lot of voting power, and we still need to double what's currently initialized across all nodes to be able to vote on things again with the new Houston system." And then Kevster said, "Isn't Marco the node operator?" And I said, "Let me see if I can reach out to Marco." And then I tagged Marco in a post saying, "If you have any questions how to do this, we'll be happy to help." And Marco says, "Yep, I'll get to it." And I think Marco and Patricio between their different nodes have over 3,000 vote power, as far as I know. So they're one of the big operators. Thomas has already signaled that he is on it, and he should have it done soon as well. So hopefully we'll be getting some of the bigger whales like coming online in the next couple of days, and hopefully it won't take too long to get like the stragglers initializing their vote as well. But hey, if you're not going to do it for a POAP, what would you be doing it for? Talking about the profiles that people have on the delegates website, here if we have a look at Dave's profile, you'll see that there's a little Easter egg in there. Let me see if I can show you. So if you go to Dave's profile and you read what it says, there's this video that's hidden in there, and it's time goes by with Rocket Pool version. So if you click it, you can actually watch the video. So it's kind of like hidden this little Easter egg in Dave's profile. And here Samus kind of found it yesterday, and then they only had 55 views, and that's where the Easter egg is. So if you want to watch that video, it's got a whole bunch of Rocket Pool memes and really, really old school Medium articles, and the depths of Rocket Pool history kind of mentioned in there. And like you can see, look, this was from 2017, like a screenshot from one of the early articles, and then this again from 2017, and it's got like loads of memes, and you can go and check them all out. So it's a nice little video, but yeah, go have a look at that. Okay, next we have this update from Chevron about the GMC's Town Hall meeting. So he said that this was a summary of the call from Wednesday, and here he says that tokenomics team is planning to have sentiment vote live on July 15th. So like I said, that date might get pushed a little bit, but it looks like things are happening, which is really amazing. This is they'll conduct peer review surveys with the contributors and determine the split of compensation among contributors for the retro. And after that, they have a treasury sheet for budgeting. The GMC has long been interested in developing a more strategic approach to budgeting. With the recent decision to revise how price calculations are managed, budgeting is more feasible as project budgets are now more closely aligned with USD values. The last GMC report took a lot of manual data compiling of multiple data sources. The new treasury sheet will compile all the data in one place and be able to visualize allocation of funding categories in real time. A budgeting component will be added to the board, where the GMC conducts votes to determine how much they would like to fund in each category. And then with DAO identity, Sleety has agreed to build a branding guide and website mockups. We're trying to organize a call with Dave. We have another GMC and Rocket Pool team next week tomorrow, which is on Thursday next week. And then with Obol, they've begun development after some initial communications between their CEO and Ken. They're going forward with the 2.857 rate. Thanks to Ken for the back and forth and comms on that. And then round 14 is underway, and all committees will be asked to review all applications, and then the call for that will take place next week. And then with Rocket Land, there was a lot of time spent talking about Rocket Land, actually saying logistically the most straightforward path forward appears to be having the GMC fund a lower cost audit than the originally proposed 90,000. The fee structure would involve Ramana collecting the fees to recoup his return on investment, with a potential for more complex partnership with the GMC at both parties' discretion in the future. Matt has been working with Ramana on Rocket Land. The GMC requests a statement from Matt regarding his goals for the project and whether he is willing to serve as the project manager. This does not guarantee a project approval. The GMC still has reservations about the interest in the project. So, yeah, that was actually really cool. And Pateris said, what is Opal actually doing? And Chevron said they're building a working prototype on Haleshki of the Solidity, after which they would look to integrate into the smart node, followed by guides and docs, then public launch. The GMC is not funding the project; they are compensated through their platform fees. So, that's actually a nice way of doing things. If they set their fees too high, no one will use it, and then they won't get any money. So, I actually really like this model where we are trying to facilitate their, well, we're not really doing that much as far as I know, but we're encouraging them to do their development and saying, if you're welcome to put this in the smart node, and if people use it, cool, and if they don't, then that's up to you guys, and you can set your fees to whatever you want. Okay, next we are moving on to some staking news, and here we have Meg sharing a screenshot of Hyperdrive, which this is from Joe. So let's just go straight to the NodeSet Discord. So Joe says, it's been some time since we dealt with Stamp. Brutal, but anyway, it's begun. And here there is a screenshot of the Hyperdrive constellation configuration, and this is for the TUI, the terminal user interface. And it says, do you want to start the Stakewise module or the Constellation module? And then it says enable support for Constellation. See more at docs.nodeset.io. So this was really cool to see that Joe is making such great progress on his work, and it looks like Constellation stuff is going to be ready from Joe's side. So he says, I have had to mock it just about everything else beside the Hyperdrive. None of it is ready yet, but by God, when it is, my client will be there waiting. So Joe's basically getting all his client stuff ready, the Hyperdrive stuff, and once the back-end stuff is sorted out, all the audits have happened and all the code is done, then it'll just be a matter of like plugging and playing it into Joe's system, which of course he's working alongside all the NodeSet smart contract devs. And I think that's going to be really, really awesome to see. So congrats to the NodeSet team for inching ever closer to coming on to mainnet. Okay, a couple of weeks ago last week I mentioned about how Symbiotic, a new restaking platform, is coming online, and how their RETH vault maxed out, and it looks like you have to kind of time that window to when it's opened. And I was talking about how I haven't quite airdrop farmed it yet, and I really want to. Well, Mig here says instead of waiting on Symbiotic, you can deposit to Mellow, and they deposit it for you. He says even EtherFi's WETHs do the same thing, and you farm other protocol points, not just Symbiotic. And I said that I've been out of the loop with DeFi stuff and airdrop stuff. If anyone writes a step-by-step guide, I'm happy to make a video about it potentially for other people. And then Mick says it's so easy, just go to mellow.finance and restake if you want Symbiotic plus Mellow points, or go to EtherFi and deposit to Super Symbiotic Vault if you want EtherFi plus Veda plus Symbiotic points. So there's a whole lot of point games playing here right now. I said which route is better. Mick said I've done both, so that makes quite a lot of sense. So I think I might do that as well. So when I get around to actually doing that, hopefully over the weekend, I'll make a video of me doing it, and I will share that with you all, so you can all kind of like follow along with that. And if you want to take that, if you want to make that decision, of course, I won't. I'll leave that all up to you, because airdrop farming, of course, is risky. You can lose everything you put in. Okay, next we have this article here about megaETH and what it is, and why did Vitalik Buterin invest in megaETH. So here it says, the project raised $20 million in seed round, and Vitalik was one of those people. and who invested in that, and so did Joe Lubin. So what is it? So the key takeaways here are megaETH's modular architecture allows to leverage base layers such as Ethereum Layer 1 and EigenDA for security and data availability. megaETH is designed to solve blockchain scalability issues known as the straggler problem, which occurs when a few slow nodes delay the production of a block. megaETH solves the straggler problem via node specialization that exempts full nodes from conducting transaction execution tasks. And then there's people who co-founded it, and the public testnet will go live in fall 2024. So a whole lot of people are kind of excited about megaETH, and it seems like that's why Vitalik invested in it. But if you want to read the article, you can definitely go and check that out and see what the reasoning behind it all was. But it seems like they're getting some legitimacy with like the people who are investing in it, and they're going to be using EigenDA as their data layer, and then I guess they'll be sending like their proofs to Ethereum. So it's not really bringing too much activity onto Ethereum mainnet in terms of like blob vburn or anything like that. But let's see what happens with it. Okay, so it seems like a whole bunch of stuff is happening after the Supreme Court decision about the Chevron deference that we talked about on Rocket Fuel. So one of the things here is from Uniswap. So Catherine here says, today Uniswap Labs urged the SEC not to proceed with its proposed rulemaking that would dramatically and improperly expand the definition of an exchange to include DeFi and more. And then here, Catherine goes on to say, for better or worse, the Supreme Court has rejected Chevron deference. The SEC's proposal was flawed, even with that deference, and it's all more so under today's standard. Both the SEC and the industry have better ways to spend their resources than in litigation over an unlawful rule. And then here's our letter to the SEC. So this is the kind of thing that I think we'll see more coming out in the next few days and weeks. We know that the SEC has a whole bunch of cases against different groups, and it seems like people for a long time have thought the SEC have been conducting overreach and taking powers that weren't theirs. And it seems like under this old system, there was a little bit of a grey area about what they could and couldn't get away with, and now that's not the case anymore, and they can get away with much less than they previously thought they could. So it looks like a lot of these cases are going to be kind of starting to go against the SEC's way, and it's going to be really interesting to see what else happens with the big cases that are outstanding, and we're actually going to talk about that in a few minutes as well. So before we do that, here Jasper's sharing news of a new app that's launched on Ethereum. So he says, over 2 years ago, I was rugged by Google for the first time. I've been waiting for a dApp like this. I'd love to see it. So here he's got screenshots saying my Google Doc for the Twitter Spaces got flagged as a content violation. Google is targeting Web3 organizations. Fuck centralized tech. So basically what happened is Jasper had made a Google Doc where he was talking about Rocket Pool Twitter Space, and he had notes in there. Now you have to remember, right, like that anything you write in a Google Doc, Google can see that. So there's no hiding it from Google basically. So it got flagged. There was content violation, and he couldn't access the doc. Well, what's happened now is we have this new service called Fileverse, and they're getting ready to ditch Google Docs, and they've got ddocs.new, which is privacy enhancing peer-to-peer on chain. And since this is not a promo video, this is how ddocs works. Just type the address and try it for yourself. So actually I've not tried it yet, so let's click on it and see what happens. So yeah, there's create document. I think what I gotta do is I just just like Google Docs minus the surveillance, and you can connect your wallet basically and start typing, which is actually really, really cool. So I might give it a whirl at some point. I haven't used it yet, like I said, but good job for these guys for building new and interesting apps. And of course, if they are utilizing crypto stuff, that's even better. Okay, a few months ago we talked about BlackRock bringing their chained fund online. Sorry, not chained, their real world asset fund online. It was the money market thing, I think, attached to USDC. Well, it looks like people have seen how easy it is to use on-chain tokens for these funds, and they're kind of getting in on the act. So the latest news today is from Goldman Sachs, and Goldman Sachs are launching 3 tokenized projects, and they're going to be launched on Ethereum. So it says Goldman Sachs to launch 3 tokenization projects by the end of the year, says digital assets chief. It says, for those asking, it doesn't specify chain. The point is that blue-blooded old guard TradFi firm is pushing further into crypto. But that was the question, like which chain is it going to go onto? And then over here, JC says that they announced that they'll be on Ethereum. So I'm not sure where JC is getting his source from, but this is actually really cool. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how this plays out. But here Mads has an interesting point. He says no bank wants to be the first, but none want to be the last either. Because the thing is they cut out their own margins by going on chain like this. But I'm sure they'll find ways to maintain their margins. Banks are really good at making money. They've been doing it for hundreds of years. So yeah, this is really cool. So for the fact that they want to do this, I think Goldman Sachs is just seeing the way the wind is blowing, especially with BlackRock, starting their on-chain funds. It looks like they'll be doing the same thing. So that's going to be very exciting to see how that goes. Okay, next we have this post here from Chain Argos talking about Metamask swaps and how they really work. And the idea is could it be that the Metamask swap function is actually a broker? Well, I won't read the whole thread to you all, but they kind of break down what the transaction looks like when you try to do a swap through the MetaMask front end on the wallet, in the wallet. And then they said here's the flow, right? So they said the user enters the order with a specified execution strategy. The order is sent to a router. The router looks up an adapter for the strategy. The router sends the tokens, adapter address, and incoming order details to the spender. The spender delegates control of tokens as required for upcoming execution. Spender calls closed source execution adapter. Fees remitted to MetaMask. Sale processed. Proceeds returned to user. So he says if you think that's decentralized finance, then so is Citibank. So here, Chinago says, MetaMask, feel free to tell us how we're wrong and maybe open source your entire system. We're particularly curious about how many people you have told the product was open source and in what formats you did so. So the idea here is that, MetaMask have ways of doing things. I'll be honest, I don't fully understand it, but I thought I'd share it with you all for you to get some information. Okay, and here we have some more crypto news now, and this is actually a really big deal that was kind of hinting to what we were talking about, the Chevron difference earlier. So Zuma here says the SEC drops its investigation into Paxos, and it decides that BUSD is not a security. So for those of you who aren't aware, BUSD was the Binance's stablecoin, and that was run by Paxos, which is a company based in the US who have Paxos Gold and a couple of other stable coins as well. And BUSD was their partnership with Binance. This was deemed a security. Binance removed BUSD from their whole platform and unwound the whole of the stablecoin without any drama or fuss or depegging or anything like that. So that was really cool. However, the SEC came after them saying this is a security and you can't do this, blah, blah, blah. And what ended up happening was Binance shutting down this product cost them potentially hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars in fees that they were generating, right? Like the way that, Tether works is you give Tether dollars, they give you USDT in return, but the dollars that you give them, they're not just sitting in a bank account. Tether goes and buys short-term bonds with that or puts money market funds, etc. And they're earning 3 to 5 to whatever 5% yield, I guess, right now, because the interest rates are still high. So if Tether has $100 billion worth of Tether out there, every year they're earning $5 billion of income for free, because of course they don't pass any of that along to their customers. Now, Binance, of course, didn't have $100 billion worth of BUSD, but even if it had, $20 billion, then that was $1 billion for a year of them not using it. That is a whole lot of money that Binance kind of got screwed out of. And I would be pissed if I was Binance, but that's the way it happens. So here, people have already started making memes about Gary Gensler protecting users again, and this person says that they should refund the $4 billion to Binance that they've lost. But yeah, this is just another nail in the coffin of the SEC. Like every single crypto action, it seems like that they've tried to take, especially big legal action, has been like they've gotten slapped in the face with that, and it looks like this is just another instance of that happening. So it's very, very interesting to see how this, MetaMask with Rocket Pool and Lido mentioned there is going to play out. I think that's going to hopefully give a lot of confidence. Well, okay, if it goes in the favor of MetaMask and consensus, and Rocket Pool as a kind of, that case is not proceeded with, or if it's if a consensus win, that would be a huge boost for LRTs, LSTs, and LRTs, and that's definitely going to be something worth paying attention to how that plays out. Okay, there was news of some potential front end hacks. I don't know how applicable this story is anymore, but Compound Labs, who run Compound Finance, their front end was compromised. So it said, please don't visit the website, don't click on any links until further notice. An update will be provided when it's available. And this was from around 16 hours ago from when I'm recording. And it says, after recent contact with Happy, we urge all users who have interacted with the Compound apps in any way to migrate and revoke access. So it says we've set up a secluded migration website for the time being. So they just wanted to make sure that everything was done. Here we had an update from 0x Not Gonna Make It, saying that Compound compiled a partial list of domains connected to Squarespace that would be at risk of being hacked right now. I'd avoid them for now. So it looks like here Sam says that multiple crypto projects had their domains mysteriously hijacked from their Squarespace account. Consider transferring your domain to one of these instead. And there's Cloudflare, Amazon, MarkMonitor, and CSC DBS. I had a list of the full list of companies that had their front end hacks, but I can't see it right now. But here you can just have a look here. And so there's Seller Network, Pendle Finance, Karak, Compound, Hyperliquid, DYDX, Lawchain, Threshold, Nostra, and a whole bunch of others. And some of these are quite well known teams and projects. So definitely be aware of this happening, and please check to see if the project has the issues have been resolved. And let me just see if the Compound Labs has an update. No, they, according to this, like 9 hours ago, it says please avoid interacting. So it looks like there hasn't been any further notice about this issue being resolved. So it might be resolved hopefully by the time you're watching this episode. But please go and check this list that is linked in 0x Not Gonna Make It's GitHub. There's 128 front ends that could be on there, and this includes like really popular stuff like LuxRare as well. So definitely be hyper aware of the front ends you're interacting with always definitely be aware of that. Okay, next we have this post from MillyX saying, holy shit, he said it, he really said it. Now, what is MillyX referring to? Millie here is referring to a Kobe tweet saying, multi-government agencies attempts to take down crypto, including unlawful behavior from world governments. He says, crypto Twitter folks don't realize half of the loud new accounts here are false flag government op aggressors, creating animosity and intentionally directing people into harm's path as a method to meet greater policy goals. So Millie replies by saying, quotes it and says, he said it, a most important post of the day for your consumption. Even if you don't believe what Kobe is saying, it's best to at least to open your mind to the possibility that some of these key opinion leaders have malicious intentions towards the industry. Now, I read some more analysis of this idea, and the point is basically that it makes sense for governments, whether that's the US government or others, to kind of control crypto. It's potentially a leviathan that's going to get out of their control very quickly, and they won't be able to put it back in the bottle, put the genie back in the bottle. But because of that, they're trying all these different ways of psyopsing us into breaking rules in one way or another, or doing something bad that then can say, oh, let's just clamp down on crypto even more, kind of thing. One of the things that I saw was that it might be some of these influencers basically said something that kind of broke securities law or something like that, and then the the feds got in their ear saying, what you did was legal, what you did was wrong, and we're going to punish you unless you become an informant slash operative for us. And that is a way that some of these accounts might have been compromised, or they might have um, they might have been they might be putting out content or material that you don't want to engage with. But I saw lists of names that was going out there, and there's some really well known people interacting with this, like on these lists of um, suspicion. So just be careful of everyone. Even be careful of me. I might be a Fed, but no, I'm not, but maybe I am. That's the mindset you should have. Be suspicious of everyone and everything. Okay, next we've got news of Donald Trump, who will be speaking at Bitcoin 2024, which is the annual Bitcoin conference that takes place. Well, this year is taking place in Nashville. So Donald Trump will be speaking there. So in the previous episode, I said that Bitcoin, crypto is becoming an official policy of the Republican Party going into the 2024 election, and now we have news that Donald Trump is going to be speaking to Bitcoiners in Nashville. I have no idea how this is going to work out, but yeah, I guess these guys are going to try to do whatever they can to get votes wherever they can. And if the Republican Party is seeing that Bitcoiners will be receptive to Donald Trump's pandering to the crypto crowd, they'll be all for it. And Bitcoiners and crypto people are quite rich in some cases, and people have already given Republicans millions of dollars. So I think it kind of makes sense from that perspective that these guys would want to facilitate that relationship between the different parties. Okay, next I've got a tease of something really cool that's coming out, and as you can see here on the screen, it's a rocket fuel t-shirt. So very soon, hopefully within the next week, I want to say definitely, but I don't want to say definitely at the same time, but within the next couple of weeks, you'll be able to get your hands on rocket fuel t-shirts. Now, I won't be making any money from this. I need to make sure where the money is going before I can fully endorse it. But this is coming out of a GMC project about a rocket pool store that's kind of community organized. But one of the items that will be sold on there is this rocket fuel t-shirt. So it's going to be orange with the rocket fuel logo on there. So I expect hundreds and thousands of sales of this t-shirt to happen. If you wear this t-shirt to East Denver next year, I might even sign it for you. But what I'm saying is, like, I'm not going to be making any money from this, so I just want to make that really clear that this is not about me making money. I just think it's really cool, like, that something like this exists, and you'll be able to buy it soon. I haven't actually bought my own yet because I'm traveling, but I'll be buying my own very soon, and there's some other really cool designs on there as well that I'll be purchasing. So I will let you all know what is happening with that when it goes live, but this is just a teaser for you so you can see it. I'm not even putting a link in the description for this because it's so hush hush right now, but hopefully you'll see it soon. And finally, we get news from Deukey here saying, I got my second child today. I want to share it with Rocket Pool friends. So, of course, your second child might be a new validator, but no, for Deukey, it was an actual child. So, Dr. Doofus says, do you mean actual baby? I like that. And Nick says, congrats. And then he shared this picture of this really cute baby who's like tiny and who's a baby and sleeping and absolutely beautiful. So, I'm so happy for Deukey and the welcoming his baby to his family and expanding their family. So I think that's a lovely note to end this episode on. So thank you all for watching, listening, and being part of the Rocket Fuel community. I hope you all have a lovely day ahead and a lovely weekend ahead, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.